today. After Taryn Davis's husband, Michael, was killed by a roadside bomb in Iraq, she started a group for military widows to help one another through the grieving process. And since then, her group, the American Widow Project, has helped hundreds of women. And Taryn Davis joins us live from Washington this morning. Good morning, Taryn. Thanks for being with us. We really appreciate it.
Good morning. Thank you for having me.
And tell us a little bit about your group. My colleague here, Christine, described this as a sorority of sisters who I guess are bonded by tragedy, but yet there's a lot that you try to do out there to keep each other's chins up, right?
Yeah, well, it was 4 months after Michael was killed. I was 21, was finishing up my degree in college, and really had found nothing out there of the resources I was given that was really telling me how to survive the loss of my soulmate in the military. And I remember one evening I went on the computer and I typed in widow, and I Google searched it, and it came back with, did you mean window? And when I read that, I realized that this is just a title that not too many people speak about, or if anything know about. And so from there I reached out to one of the only widows I knew at that time, whose husband was killed alongside Michael, and just said, you know, I want to know how you met, I want to know how you were notified, and most importantly, I want to know how you get up each morning and not only continue his legacy, but live your own life. Because I knew for me personally, the only way to survive Michael's passing was to learn how to live again.
Wow.
And that was something I couldn't really learn through a seminar, through a counselor. I had to get out there and do it. And so I think definitely through our organization, we want the widows to kind of feel the wind against their face and see that it's possible to smile and to laugh. And that really is the way to continue their husband's legacy and continue their own lives.
That is, after all, what they died for, right? The American way of life, and the ability for you to have freedom, and for me to have freedom, and for us to be able to raise our kids in a free country. And we look at these pictures, Taryn, you know, of you and Michael here. We're showing a kind of a montage of, you were a senior in college when you got the news that he had been killed in Iraq. You said you got a bunch of boxes in the mail, and the military did, you know, the best it could on the logistical front, but there was a hole there, and you have filled that hole with other women who've gone through the same thing.
I mean, they give you those boxes, and the military does a great job on getting our husbands and wives home and getting their belongings back to us, but they don't really prepare you for what happens when you open those boxes, and you have to sift through the letters that you wrote him 2 weeks ago and the pictures that you know he had of you hanging on his locker. And I really was just looking for other women who would be candid and kind of say you're not alone in how you feel.
And what do you do with those women? There's skydiving, there's you've been whitewater rafting, you've done all of these sort of life-embracing things together. And you said talk about the wind at your face. You know, these are not pictures. When you think of a widow, you think of a 70-year-old woman in black. These are women who are living the lives that their husbands died to preserve.
Well, I think I read a quote once, and it said that the moment that we step outside of our comfort zone, we truly start living. And I think after the death of our spouses in the military, grief can become a comfort zone for us. And for me, it was hard to imagine living life, imagine fulfilling the dreams that I wanted to fulfill with Michael. And I took that step. I took that step outside of that comfort zone. And the first thing I did, I went skydiving. I've done it 3 times now each year with our widows with the organization. And I think for once I saw that it was possible to relate to my husband. He was airborne. And do something for myself. And I think our events are definitely the perfect mixture of allowing these women to experience something that they've never experienced before, or like I stated. Yeah,
I want to ask very quickly, because we have to wrap things up here, what more could we do for the spouses of fallen soldiers? Because obviously there are husbands out there who have lost wives in Iraq and Afghanistan. Are we doing enough? What more can we do?
I think just recognizing that they truly are the other side of that sacrifice. I mean, if you visit our website, you can read the stories that widows have submitted of all of their strives and their triumphs. And I think just acknowledging that maybe you don't know what they're going through, and not really giving that cliche, life goes on. I think if they go onto our site, or just even look at the pictures that you've shown today, they can see that these women are full of life. And I think they're like that because of what their husbands instilled in them while they were alive.
Well, Taryn Davis, you are an example of how to put on a brave face and move forward after tragedy, and it's so great to see what you and the other women in this organization are doing together, and best of luck to you. Really appreciate it.
Thank you.
Taryn Davis in Washington for this morning.
And it's called the American Widow Project. If you're watching this morning,